Happening right now on the dais will be upon carbon smart farming, regenerative agriculture, and climate resilient crop solutions. We have few panelist industry experts present with us. Let's welcome Vikas Subhash Chand Chandak, Chief Operating Officer, Grow Indigo, with a warm round of applause. Welcome to IIAB, sir. With that, let's welcome Arup Ghosh, Director, CSIR, CSMCRI, Bhavnagar, with a warm round of applause. Once again, welcome to you, sir. It is such a delightful moment to witness all the industry experts right here in the conference hall. Let's welcome Shanmugam Sambhantan, Commercial Head, Agriculture, Novogenesis. Welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Ketan Mehta, founder, EcoSense Labs, President, Bioprotection, and global member of World Veg Center. Before we start this session, I would want everyone to take an initiative to clap for our fellow panelists. Let's give it up together. Welcome to all of you, and let's give it to you, the dais.
Yeah.
Over.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Vikas Chandak. I am a Chief Operating Officer at Grow Indigo and happy to be here. I thank Mr. Raj for keeping this session, and I'm really glad to have a panel which has science to industry, so that whatever we speak really converts from science to science-based innovation to industry-based scaling up, and then making something which is very profitable or acceptable to the farmer. So we will, as a team, we thought we will try and make it as practical, as helpful for people in the room to understand. So maybe before we start the topic, which is already mentioned, I would like each one of us to maybe take 30 seconds to tell the audience what they do and introduce in a very brief. So that would be where we start. So starting with the scientist among us, Dr. Arup.
Thank you, Dr. Vikas, and good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Arup Ghosh. Basically, I am an agronomist, and I am leading an institute that is a CSIR institute, that is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research Affiliated Institute, that is called Central Salt and Marine Chemicals Research Institute. We are basically specializing on 3 or 4 different areas that includes membranes, water, as well as seaweeds for biostimulants and valorization, as well as we also work on different chemicals as well as different types of salts. Uh, but we have a very good team of seaweed based scientists who, right from the cultivation of seaweeds down to valorization and converting them into valuable products. So that is the specialization of our institute.
Thank you, Dr. Arup. So we move from science to industry. So over to Mr. Shanmugam to share a few words about him.
Hello, everyone. Very good morning. My name is Sharmugam, heading the plant health business for Novenis covering Maya region. Novenis is a Danish company, a pure biological player. So we are a multinational company operating in a global environment. We operate in 30 plus industries wherever we have the 5 technology platform: enzymes, microbes, yeast, protein, and HMO, human milk oligosaccharides. You will see us being in the enabler of biosolutions. Glad to be here, and also thanks for the opportunity to share our thoughts and insights on this evolving and important topic.
Over to Ketan.
Yeah, morning. Thanks to Jyoti for keeping us on time. Uh, I'm the president of Bioprotection Global. It's a federation of around 1,000 companies across 60 countries focused only on biocontrol and biologicals. And since last year, uh, since the powers that be shut down climate change and a lot of agriculture products at multilateral agencies, uh, climate action has and climate action finance have become very, very important across the globe, especially focusing on global south. And that's what I hope that we can do for India is to my dream is to create a carbon exchange at Gift City in Gandhinagar so that we don't have to go and bundle the products and sell it in Urex in Frankfurt or Chicago Board of Trade at Chicago.
Thank you, Ketan. So as we all got a pulse of what we have on panel, myself, Vikas Chandak, I am a doctorate in agriculture, uh, associated with biologicals for more than 2 decades. It has been a journey where I got an opportunity to look at biologicals from a lens beyond chemicals, because had part of chemical as well. So it was always felt like biologicals is an alternative or a secondary source. But somewhere during this journey of 2 decades, I thought, no, it is the next growth engine that people would start to realize. So coming to this topic, whenever we think of carbon farming, carbon smart agriculture, or say resilient agriculture, it is normally directly linked to sustainable initiatives. No, it can get linked to organic agriculture, natural farming solutions, but that's not the real part of it. What we as a panel try to do is to make it much more relevant, because it looks to be a subset of sustainability, and that is where it does not get the relevance it is. But once we start looking at it very seriously, we have been off late discussing at various forums that carbon loss in terms of soil health has been one of the primary reasons where yield have got stagnant, or the immunity for the crop to respond to various things has got hurt. So maybe carbon farming, resilient agriculture has to be looked from primarily 3 different domains. One is how do you restore your soil health, bring in the aspect of productivity back to life, because moment we bring in, we lost soil health from 1% to say 0.5%, and in places 0.3%, and that is where the entire ecosystem has got dumped into. So that is what we think carbon can do for us. The second aspect is how do this agriculture respond, or the farmers and the industry respond to this vagaries of the environment, because we normally in last 5 years, personally I feel the forecast, whether it is IMD or various other agencies, have not got it right. because at least in our case, we need range to be distributed, not just achieving a sales target like by month end, downpouring, and then the paper says now it is 90% achieved, but actually farmer does not need it. It would in fact have a negative repercussions to the crop yield. So how do we address that? And finally, getting the carbon story right is only when farmer gets something out of it. So I have for all my decades of 2 decades believed, very early in my career I got that farmers will only adopt a change when there is some monetary advantage directly linked to it. Till the time it is a government initiative or a subsidized program, it does not spread or scale up. So that has been my strong conviction, and I assume panel also resonates to it, and maybe will help people look at it. So science, we start with Dr. Arup. So this misconception that carbon smart farming or regenerative agriculture is primarily a sustainability initiatives. I have read a lot of your papers, and I would really like for you to speak to the audience in how do product innovations or scientific discoveries can break this myth that it's only about carbon or it's about sustainability. How do it convert what your data suggests is how does it convert into a productable innovation? So maybe we'll hear from you on science part of it, how your knowledge, your research has been able to give a direction that this should be looked beyond sustainability initiatives.
Thank you, Dr. Vikas. First of all, I would like to distinguish between these terms, which are, of course, related, but they are different. When we talk about regenerative agriculture, we are talking about restoring soil, restoring the micro ecosystem that ultimately leads to sustainability. Now, when we talk about climate resilient farming solution, subset of it would definitely be regenerative farming, but again, it is a different. So, climate smart agriculture is about low emission of carbon in whatever you do. So whatever you do, whether you produce fertilizer at the back end, you won't be able to know how much carbon dioxide is being released. But if you really see, it is tons per tons. So that is something what we do in carbon smart agriculture, try to release as low of carbon emissions into the atmosphere as we can. And at the same time, being climate resilient also means whether the solutions, whatever are being provided, they are able to mitigate the stress, both abiotic stress, biotic stress, like moisture content. We have a lot of variability in monsoon. Like there are prolonged dry spells. So the crops may experience different levels of stress. So do we have solutions for that? And then there is a terminology called whatever you say, it's convention plus minus, carbon negative, carbon positive. So if you are trying to be carbon negative agriculture, that means we sequester or we take out more amount of carbon dioxide than we put into the system. So there has to be a balance. So for all these three things, so we have for the government, for the farmers, for the policymakers, these are important things they should consider the distinctness and how do they measure it. So that's something, some feedback for you all I want to give.
So, Dr. Arup, can you share some quantifiable examples where you have been able to notice that with seaweed or whatever research, because Central Soil Marine Research Institute primarily pioneers in seaweed, where you can really quantify this and say that it's beyond sustainability, it has profitability. Because I would love to keep this discussion around what farmer would get at the end of day, and whether industry really thinks that whatever the science you do in your limited scope of work, can the industry feel that is scalable? So maybe a couple of examples of quantifiable things.
I think that's a very good question. And I really want to say that there is a huge gap in that conviction, understanding, and acceptability with the farmers, industries, and ultimately the policymakers. We have a lot of examples wherein we have quantified the net benefits, not only in terms of crop yields, but also in terms of carbon emissions or carbon footprint. For example, if I say when we use seaweed biostimulant, when we do a life cycle assessment, LCA, that is what we call, we found that these biostimulants are having extremely low carbon footprint. So when I was talking about tons per tons of fertilizers, inorganic fertilizers, here they are kgs per tons of fertilizers. So then I am not telling that do not use chemical fertilizers. So we have to do a balanced application of organics and inorganics, including biofertilizers. So our studies show that the seaweed biostimulants emit only 8 to 11 kg of carbon dioxide equivalent per ton of biostimulant production, with a concomitant improvement in yield that is ranging between 11 to 37%. We have done about 170 trials throughout India in 20 states in collaboration with 43 agricultural universities and ICAR in 10 to 15 different crops, multi-locational trials. When we talk about agriculture, we also talk about animals, animal husbandry. We have developed seaweed-based animal feed additive that has the capability to reduce methane emission from the ruminant animals. So that is a huge gain on the carbon footprint or the greenhouse gas emission when we do LCA. So there definitely we gain a lot with environment point of view. But then when we talk it around, the benefits, we also have very nicely documented peer-reviewed articles we have published on how the seaweed biostimulants can actually mitigate stress, what are the mechanism, what are the active ingredients because of which different, like if there is a medium level soil moisture deficit happening in the dry spells, the seaweeds can actually, seaweed biostimulants and some of the organics, they can actually ward off the stress till the time the second spell of rains come. So that damage is reduced, and that's how the crop yields are improved. Now again, I'll tell you, like, what has the farmer to do
But maybe
with,
on a farmer part, we will move later,
yes,
doctor. But my very specific says that no, when you tell like 11 to 37% yield, and yesterday we were hearing this Compo, the leader at Compo, mentioning that they are trying to build Compo, known to be a micronutrient based organization, and they are trying to blend biologicals or biostimulants to make it effective. So maybe we will take a pause at
yes.
that level. Maybe we'll bring in an aspect of pharma later. But Shanmugam, your experience with Nova Nace, which has been a pioneering various biologicals, how do you think the science, which actually from a lab scale 170 experiments, maybe covering few acres of land, but we are talking about millions of acres, millions and millions of acres. So how do you scale it up from a corporate perspective? What are the initiatives that you build from what Dr. Arup and his team leaves? That how do you scale it up and bring it to the level where it becomes much more acceptable to the farming community? And that I would love to hear the Novan's story around how do you do it for farmers at a scale?
Sure. Before I talk about the science to solution, just building on to Dr. Ghosh, there are already solutions are evolving. If you look at direct seeded rice, you look at mycorrhiza, those are credible, evolving topics that can potentially help us for carbon trading type of activities, right? So definitely things are evolving. From a Novonesis perspective, uh, if you look at regenerative agriculture, there is a lot of development happening over the decades. But if you actually see the ground reality, very little is happening, and very difficult for us, country like India, where we have 150 million farmers, it's not happening at a scale. That's the reality, right? So when we look at it, see what are the reasons why things are not evolving, why it is not impactful, right? Though it has been talked about uh, in a much elaborate way, one of the reasons is even among the panelists, we are not able to come to a common what is regenerative agriculture. So there is no common definition how everyone look at regenerative agriculture, right? That's a big challenge, how everyone look at it. And then Ketan sits and he's talking about carbon trading, which is above my head from a farmer perspective in India, but very important topic. We have to talk about it, right? So when we looked at it from a Novonesis, we were also looking at, because regenerative agriculture is not a side topic for us, it's very well embedded in our system. So we follow SAI platform. SAI is Sustainable Agriculture Initiative platform. This is a global platform that frames the policies around sustainable agriculture. Sorry, the regenerative agriculture. That is providing a framework in terms of how do we look at, right? There are a lot of global organizations are part of SAI platform, and they are providing direction. So certainly we believe that very important for us to, so there are three things they're talking about. One, it has to be a validator, outcome based, and then it should be locally proved. So I think all of this are very relevant when you know what is happening in Europe cannot happen in India. So it is very important that we have some commonalities in following. So in Novonesis, we follow SAI platform. So coming back in terms of example, a company like Novonesis already announced that by 2050 will be net zero, right? So this is a big announcement. We have already communicated to our stakeholders. So when we do that, we'll be net zero by 2050. So we'll have to start looking at our scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions, right? Very important. Otherwise, how would you go there by net zero by 2050? So when you look at scope 3 as a large company involved in fermentation, so we buy a lot of agricultural commodities, right, including carbohydrates, sugar, multiple goes into manufacturing of enzymes, microbes, yeast. So already we are adopting SAA platform to ask our suppliers to fulfill regenerative agriculture practice, right? So there is a subtle push coming in as a sourcing agriculture commodities. We want our suppliers to also fulfill the regenerative. It's a subtle how much we can do. Definitely things are happening, right? In terms of scope 1, we do produce microbes, enzymes, which has a direct application to the agriculture. This is where the science to uh, in terms of what makes sense for the farmers, right? How do we articulate, translate that size into solution that is workable for the farmers, right? So I can give a couple of examples. The way we look at it is the carbon, it's a later topic. For us is biosolutions are important part of toolbox for the farmers so that he can practice regenerative agriculture or climate smart farming. So what we do, couple of examples I can give. One from a local examples. So we have a research project with the NIASM, National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, ICR. So where we have a funded project to look at how does biosolution helps to improve soil health, one parameter. Second, to look at how do we help in the climate variability. So they are looking at two crops, chili and maize, and then looking at two, not like very broad, very focused, if it is a drought type of situation, how does the biosolution play, right? Here, it is not just Novonesis biosolutions. We are looking at industry, including seaweed, other technologies, what is available, to have a science-based evidence, right? Today, regenerative agriculture, climate smart farming is loosely used, and almost every product brochure claims that it is abiotic stress without a science-backed evidence. I think that's very important for a company like us, that whenever we say something, we wanted to make sure that it has a evidence, proven data points, independently verified, and then we are able to translate that to what does it mean to our farmers. So it's very important for us. And also, other international project I can say as an example is the University of, since we are a Danish company, the University of Copenhagen is have a funded project. They're looking at mycorrhiza strain for afforestation project. So they're using this mycorrhiza, apply it on the, for the big trees, and then they believe that they could sink 10 to 20% carbon. One is storage as well as sequestering of carbon, right? So those are the areas where how do we translate a technology into a solution that is meaningful for the farmers, also for the overall government and other policymakers.
So great. Uh, that is where I bring Ketan also. But what you mentioned is that no, I have personally felt and believed that no single company can scale to millions of acres, and that is where the like-minded companies should integrate the technology. And maybe no one is, as I know, is a B2B company, not having its own channel, but the companies which are into strong B2C and having a big channel should look at products which the companies and the science is bringing and maybe use their muscle in network. Again, building on yesterday's strength, there was an articulation that the biologicals companies are not able to scale up because they don't have a muscle to reach out to 35,000, 40,000 distributors, maybe lack of retailers, which really are the important backbone for, at least for Indian multi-tier distribution channels. So maybe from a Shambhungam here, the companies can really benefit from what his company has to offer. So maybe in next question you can offer certain ideas, but maybe next for let's bring in Ketan for now. So Ketan, do you really think this biologicals what Shambhugam mentioned, and he gave one example of mycorrhiza? No, we at Grow Indigo have been a strong believer that no, we are strong in microbial, so we really don't work beyond microbes. For other products, we rely on people who are great in creating, and we would really work towards creating a network for them. Similarly, for you, you have a EcoSense lab, and you talked about South Asia initiative and that. Do you really think that biologicals can capture carbon? Because then we build up to carbon credits, another story. But if you really don't think that biologicals cannot build up carbon, then the entire story remains on a paper or a, yeah. So maybe you can help people understand that really biologicals have that power to be carbon. And as I told, I am again looking at it from a answer from a very farmer lens, because now farmer is not interested to build carbon. No, he has to be seeing value in yields. So no, help the people know where your thought on really carbon can be built using biologicals.
Yeah, thank you. Namaste, Guruma. It's so glad today is still Guru Purnima, no? 12, 12:30 tak hai. So you are here in the Murat. We are blessed. Thanks. So first thing, it's not yield, sir. It's money. Okay. Agriculture is a risky business, and the farmer needs return end of day. Okay. Bottom line. If he makes, then only everyone, the people who have supplied inputs will make. Otherwise, nahi hota hai. That's one. Second, there's a McKinsey report of 23-24 which very clearly states that use of biologicals in agriculture is the second most climate action impactful use in agriculture. The first is closing the loop from forage to manure and then gas and all of that. But the second most impactful is use of biologicals. $177 per ton of CO2 saved. Okay. This is what has brought Amazon into India and 35,000 hectares of land. It's you all are part of that program, okay? Temasek bundled the product and sold it on Urex. Bayer providing seed and crop protection products. Good Rice Alliance is giving all the proper tick marks. 35,000 hectares direct seeded rice, $30 million transaction done. So kisan ko mila. Yes, 4 layers of intermediaries is what I want to try and reduce and bring Urex to Gift City for Asia and Africa. This is where the goal is. I've already started a dialogue with people at NSE. Let's see how it proceeds. But big boys have to come and support and say, "Ke chalo, ye karna hai." Why? Because of CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism.
We will look
Okay.
at it because
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah, that's
that's
a
a upcoming and developing
Right, yeah,
story.
yeah.
Maybe we
So
can
this
look
is-
at it in round two.
okay.
You already have set tone for your second question.
Yes. So
I'm very happy that you yourself gave me insight into what should be I asking next. But no, the interesting part you touched upon is that Amazon, Microsoft, and they have been coming to us, and just for the audience to know, Grow Indigo, we have been able to secure first set of credits. We have 3 carbon programs running, and we are doing roughly with 3 million farmers, looking at roughly 17 million acres of land. These credits are around direct seeded rice, like alternate wetting and drying, Punjab, Haryana. So we operate carbon program in 13 states, Ketan. And let me tell you very honestly, we started in 2019 and we got first credit on January 14, 2026. It was like when we were sitting on it was just a Vera mail popping up and the eyes literally got wet. Okay, it has taken 5.5 years, and you won't believe it. During this 5.5 years, these farmers really chased us track and note, because when you go to these farmers and enroll, okay, you are their part of carbon program, and you will get an additional 4,000 5,000 rupees. Every time you visit to have an audit or a data, they would ask, वो मेरा 4,000 रुपये कब आ रहा है? आप डेटा तो लेने आ जाते हो, पर वो रुपए तो दिख नहीं रहे हैं. So, but we are happy to share that we have 3 programs which have seen the light of day, and the money has flown back to farmer. We have buyers as well, and that is where this CABM will come into picture. So today they are voluntary markets, so there is no regulation, and we can sell it world over. And but it's not a easy part for us. We have really invested 6 years, so we know, and we want people to come in and be part of it, because what Grow India can do is say 17 million acres. Maybe there are many more million acres to be achieved, but no. So yeah, so that is where we will have to build. And on coming to biologicals in carbon capture, unfortunately, we have 6 projects that we are working on in biologicals. Biological nitrogen fixation, mycorrhiza, which we have a proprietary technology like Novasys. We have no biochar solutions, which are all there. But only for biochar we have been able to secure credits. Other are still in pipeline. So today at this point in time, if I say biological company will be able to give credit to farmers, it is bit out of way for me now. I would say 1 year down the line, I can really say that Grow Indigo today does 16.5 million acres, and moment the nitrogen fixing program comes into picture, this 16.5 million acres will directly get a carbon benefit. So that additionality will crop in. But today, it's a thing in waiting. So from building on things in waiting, doctor, we have 10 minutes. So maybe with the next questions, we will keep it one minute and be very precise in the way we answer. So you left at farmers' benefit. So can you share 2 technologies? And you have licensed to many companies, which has really addressed abiotic stress and biotic, not biotic stress. We have now companies from sulfur mills and various companies here sitting who are taking care of the biotic part of it. You please help us take look at abiotic stress, which I think would be a next big thing for companies to focus. So any 2 examples on your research which can really look at drought or this downpour can be addressed from science perspective.
Yes, certainly. I mean, the work which we are doing, that is specifically on seaweed biostimulants, and we have several different types of seaweed biostimulants which we have developed, and we have carried out several agricultural trials, and we have really found out that uh, they have the capability to ward off limited moisture stress. So whenever there is a drought, you can actually reverse, and not only on the physiological aspects of the plants, I also have evidence on how these use of biostimulants, even when it is on plants, okay, on the leaves, then also the philosphere microbes, microbes are everything for the plants. I mean, all the nutrient transformation happen through microbes. And when you apply these biostimulants, whether it is on soil or on leaves, the microbial community, it gets activated. So under drought condition, which gets lowered, when you use these biostimulants, even under drought condition, the levels are, and I'm talking about metagenomic analysis, that is the high level throughput sequencing mechanism right now used for analyzing the microbes. We have found out that all the classes of microbes, they get enriched when we add these biostimulants. And that is how we also say that under drought condition, nitrogen use efficiency by use of these biostimulants gets much more enhanced. So what I should interpret is, whatever the amount of nitrogen we have in soil, whether it is organic nitrogen or it is applied fertilizer nitrogen, when you increase the efficiency of uptake and then the conversion of these into proteins or whatever, the loss that happens, and nitrogen losses are around 40 to 50%. So when more uptake is there, lesser amount of losses will be there. And you also know that nitrogen fertilizer production is associated with carbon footprint. So we have multifarious examples of how stress is tolerated, abiotic stress, both salt as well as moisture stress.
Great. But I just pick up one word, and I'm really serious about it. You mentioned word reverse. अभी वो बड़ा रिस्की है फार्मर को जाके बोलना कि ये रिवर्स हो जाएगा, आपका जो लॉस है वो रिवर्स हो जाएगा, because no and
Actually, it is retard.
हाँ because it is like no
Yeah, and that's why
I,
I told limited or measured amount of stress. So when there is a high stress, there is no possibility that you can reverse
आपके
anything.
रिवर्स से मुझे स्ट्रेस आ गया था
So
एक बार क्योंकि
yeah,
वो
no,
फार्मर
but
को
then
जाके बोलना
correct,
कि भाई ये हो
correct.
जाएगा,
So
because I am really honest in telling कि मैं मेरी टीम को भी जब बात करता हूँ तो मैं बोला हमारा एक ही गोल है कि स्ट्रेस फ्री डे जितना मिलेगा उतना यील्ड बढ़ेगा.
yes,
So the
100%.
idea is to keep as many stress-free days.
Yes.
Say if a crop duration is 120, 90 are the days where it really grows, 30 say goes into maturity. But if you can give 90 में से अगर 20% stress-free days, it directly resonates into yield.
Exactly.
So maybe retard is a good word instead
Yeah,
of getting into
it's
reverse.
retarding the retardation.
नहीं तो हम
So that's all.
penalty दे दे के थक जाएंगे और हो जाएगा. So
That's why I said medium stress, low stress.
yeah.
Whenever the crop goes to high stress, nothing in the world can save it.
Thank you. So we have 5.5 minutes. So Shanmugam, you were referring to something where I stopped you. Maybe you can build on that for a minute, and then I also stopped Ketan, so he can also complete. Can you repeat? So you were referring to your international exposure and how you have been doing in Denmark, and maybe you can help audience, because another important aspect is with this UK company here and then free trade and everything, maybe the partnerships will open up. So how do your international exposure, you briefly touched upon Copenhagen, but that is from forestry. We are looking at agriculture, so how does it translate into agriculture for me?
So from a Novonesis perspective, what we believe is biosolution is an enabler, important tool in the toolbox for farmer, right? We know that as long as we are able to talk to farmers and say that I can bring down the input cost, or help to increase his income through the biosolutions, right? I think these are the direct benefit. And what do we do is something very important before we talk about carbon and other associated benefits comes out at a later stage, right? Uh, very important for us is how do we translate this to a farmer, right? So we talked about a science-backed a solution which is easy for farmer to understand, right? So there is no simple cut, copy, paste. What we do in Europe, we can replicate here. And we also don't want to do a greenwashing. Very, very careful as a company. We don't want to do extraordinary claim. For example, we talked about mycorrhiza, right? So it's very complicated, right? So doesn't mean that every farmer who uses mycorrhiza can start claiming carbon. It's not that way, right? Uh, it's a part of the process, a system. So we need to be careful. I think that's what, as a company, we are extremely careful what to claim and what not to claim. And then we leave it to the expert like Grow Indigo, who is aggregator, who has the technique to measure, audit, and quantify the carbon to help us there. I think we focus on the back end in terms of demonstrating what are immediate benefit to farmer rather than looking beyond the immediate benefits.
Thank you. You're part of that EU thing.
Yeah. So,
Carbon.
why I believe that there is a scope that is developing.
Attention everyone. The meditation session of Guru Ma is about to begin soon. We kindly request everyone to join us in the conference hall. Thank you.
Thanks. So, since January of this year, EU has enacted carbon border adjustment mechanism for steel and other metals. What does that mean? That previously, if I was a JSW manufacturing in Vijayanagar, I could offset my carbon emissions by buying credits from Bhutan, which is a world's only carbon negative country. But from January of this year, I cannot. I have to do my adjustments within the boundaries of political India only. What does that mean? That anyone, and this is going to move to other products and possibly will move to services faster than others. And probably that's the reason why Amazon has gone in and stepped this up and done this transaction to build up the credits. Last week, Amazon and Flipkart have gotten, in principle, approval to start exporting products from India outside. We very much like what Alibaba does. So if Amazon wants to sell something, then if it's going to Europe, at some point in time, they'll have to start having the, exactly what Shanmukan said, scope 1, 2, 3 information ready in a documented form for those people to work. Where is India moving differently than the developed North is that India has set up 3 or 4 steps. Regulatory steps have been done. And I'll read them out because I don't want to make a mistake in what I'm reading. So RBI has created a dashboard for climate finance. That means no bank has to sit and use their own mind. There's a standardized dashboard and there's a standardized set of rules and guidelines that they have to follow for climate action finance. Number one. So that's very important because in the end, money is going to come from commercial banks. For if I'm exporting something and I need climate action finance, I'm going to go to a bank and say, hey, I'm doing, my products are climate action positive, give me money at a lower rate. And that is what the bank will be able to do. There's a sovereign green bond scheme that has been floated also by the RBI. So that means sovereign green bonds can be issued by banks or by other corporates and get people to subscribe to that. Then RBI also has a green deposit framework which is set up and climate risk guidance for regulated entities. And regulated doesn't mean only banks, but also for non-banking financial companies. So this has opened up that framework to NBFCs also to get into this framework. And SEBI has brought out a sustainability disclosure architecture. So these are all the things that are in play already happening in India for helping raise climate action finance. And the biggest beneficiary of this in the agriculture or agrochemical space has been UPL. Is that since UPL got out of the Nifty 50 in Q3 23-24, okay, towards the end of 24, you see Mr. Jay Shroff's posts on LinkedIn. Every 10 days, there's a post on sustainability. He's gotten UPL listed onto the sustainability index in UK, which is what is driving the buying of the stock in India. So this is how a company like UPL has benefited by doing work in sustainability not only in India but across borders. Benefit is being seen in India. Now, what is left to be done, okay, for India is there's a climate finance taxonomy is the next logical step. So basically, we need to sit down and draw up definitions exactly how we started the talk. What is regen agriculture? What is climate resilient agriculture? What is carbon smart farming? So that taxonomy and definitions need to be worked on.
Ketan, we can be very precise.
Yeah,
Maybe we are done with the
the
time.
two more points.
Yeah.
Complementary financing architecture needs to be set up. And we are right here in BKC, which is where all these bankers are. So easy, we can just walk across. And a dedicated refinance window for MSMEs. These are the three things that are which the regulators are aware of and they are starting to work on it. So
Yeah.
I believe it's possible and it is doable.
So
Thanks.
with permission, Mr. Raj, maybe 1 minute more and then we close up. Yeah.
Ketan talked about the climate funding and projects, right? So very interesting data. If you look at the CSR funds in India, last year there was 40,000 crores, 2% of your net profit to be to CSR fund. If you look at how much of that fund, it's good that it's going to education, healthcare, rural development. But if you look at climate funding, only 8% of that money goes in. I think if we have to be a Viksit Bharat by 2047, I think a lot of corporates need to fund the CSR activities around the climate-related projects. I think that will bring in more ecosystem, more research for the research organization to start working on a credible solutions towards the climate farming.
Thank you. So that's our time for day. And no, thank you. We started with science. We built up into industry and Ketan just speak about what are the various things. But just to add, carbon is still a voluntary market in India. It does not have boundaries for now. It keeps in, it good, but we don't want boundaries, Ketan, at this point in time because India does not have a goal to become carbon neutral by 2030. So if we are talking of money from carbon, if these boundaries are created, our farmers will not get the money because you can then, there is no buyer in India because our target is to be by 2070. There are companies like Microsoft and other who have taken target to be by 2035, but it is purely looking at their commitment to Western world. So we really don't want that. Actually, at my level, doing carbon credits and that all linking biologicals to carbon credit, I really don't want this to be boundaries now. I want regulations to be there so that demand is there and farmers not getting our partner Indigo parent is able to sell credit at $70 and India we are selling at $30. So we are 50% because that is a problem. I want my farmer to also get $70. So when I use Indigo, I am getting $70. But if I am stopped from using Indigo, I would not be able to really make my farmer happy. So that's the real built-in here. And people, and the interesting topic, I think people should connect with these guys. You can reach out to me as well, wherever you think I can help with the knowledge. I will be more than happy to share whatever we have been able to do, where you can partner, you can contribute, because we strongly believe that a huge partnership would be needed to transform it. It cannot be a one company or a one research institute. My next question obviously was, if you were on a hot seat today, but we don't have time. So you can maybe write it down to Raj and he can share it. If you are in a hot seat, what one thing you would have really changed to make his ambition 2035 an effective thing? So maybe that would get captured in report, Raj,
Yeah,
if you are creating a
because
report.
because
But
we want to recommend. I think that's a very important thing. Actually, that has to be a recommendation. R&D institutes doing their research, industries supporting R&D, industries also supporting the ecosystem of carbon market, what Grow Indigo has been doing, and of course a lot of policy level interventions, what Ketanji told, and of course one more important thing, the government taking cognizance of the genuine evidences of R&D into tweaking the regulations, because till now there are so many bioproducts, but combination products are not allowed till now. So I think we generate more and more data, give the government more evidence, convince them, and that's how they should take the
Kind attention,
cognizance.
everyone.
So
so
that's
The
something which I also want
presentations
to
thank you. Maybe
make a
we can
recommendation.
share it with
Yes.
Raj and he can make it part of report. It's the same question for everyone. One thing, if you can brought it. So Raj, thank you for the time. Maybe we
All
can
right.
continue. Maybe we are waiting for ma'am to
Yes.
take it up from here. So thank you, Raj. Thank you everyone
Well
for
said, Mr.
being a
Chandak.
great audience. Thank
So
you.
Vikas, the
And with
borders are
that,
not set by me.
No, I don't want it to be said.
I don't. So
I
carbon
would like
border
to
adjustment
welcome
mechanism is
Mr.
being done by
Rajkumar
the
Agarwal
EU,
from Ray
and we
Consulting with a
signed
round of
off of the
applause.
FTA, man.
No, but
Can we
no,
clap?
Paris Convention also lost too much of credit. So I don't really mean that happens now.
This is what we call the real parliament, isn't it? Thank you, ma'am, because amazing job. Thank you. See, you know what? A lot of things came out yesterday. Probably this is a time to share with you all. Um, uh, Before that, we are all blessed, honored to have our Badi Guruma amongst us to bless us. As I didn't know, अभी भी काल चल रहा है गुरु पूर्णिमा का. केतन बड़ा पंडित निकला हमारा. तो thanks केतन. तो आशीर्वाद हमारे बहुत हैं. We'll right after this, Guruma will take us to meditation, discourse, small like leadership through meditation and stuff like that. I don't know. Let's leave it to her. And before, after that, see, yesterday when I was interacting, especially a beautiful evening with Shan and others, it thought and lot of inputs started pouring in. So one of the things we were like thinking, kaise kya karna hai? So the topics which we all know are chosen are relevant and required. And what we keep talking is how do we execute it? Because आप $40 अगर आप बढ़ा रहे हो इंडियन फार्मर का ब्लडी सर कोशिश ही अभी हम कोशिश किया आप हम लोग सब यहाँ है कि नहीं जियो में कोशिश करने से तो जियो में है नहीं तो कहाँ रहते थे हम लोग
True.
तो
No, just to help. It's not going. No, in Grow Indigo's carbon credit program, 75% of the revenue goes to the farmer. So
Wow.
it is highest among
Yes.
any consumer price getting back to farmers. So 75% goes to farmer.
या ना इट्स विल वर्क इट आउट कौन कितना लेता बाद में काम करेंगे नहीं जाने देंगे
All right.
So yeah, so coming to that, see the topics are so beautiful, interesting. Both like yesterday, I said Yuvraj ji spoke, Jitendra ji spoke, and today Komal ji is going to give a roadmap how India can be anywhere in the world in this kind of a situation. So we felt we will continue these groups as a think tankers group for at least 1 year, so that Ray Consulting will coordinate with them, work with them, have maybe, if not weekly, fortnightly, actually once in a month, brainstorming sessions on virtual platform. So something good comes out. So by the time, you know, you have a clarity next 1, 2, 3, 4 months, what is that we need to deliver. So we will start doing this probably next fortnight. So we'd request all of course, this panel, rest of the panels to continue to contribute so that how we all grow together. So with that, gentlemen, I think I would say I don't mind saying this, you guys are more blessed than any other panelists. Because Guruma herself is here to bless you. Guruma ji, please, aapke आशीर्वाद से इनको.
It's a moment where we felicitate our fellow panelists from our Badima, from Nasik, Nirvana Ashram, our spiritual head, And once again, a very, very warm welcome to her to IIAB 2026. The auspicious time of Guru Purnima, and we literally having a guru with us. A star-studded stage. Mr. Chanak, congratulations. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Arup Ghosh, Director, CSIR, CSMCRI, Bhavnagar. We can have a round of applause. Let's clap. It's a moment to celebrate. Lovely. Up next, let's give it up for Mr. Ketan Mehta, Founder, EcoSense Lab, President, Bio, Protection Global Member. Mr. Shanmugam Sambanthan, Commercial Head, Agriculture, Novonesis. Along with Mr. Mehta, felicitated by our Guruma, with gratitude, token of love, appreciation, and faith. We are delighted to have your presence, the industry experts and the leaders. Let's have a group picture, a memory to cherish for life.